Hey everybody, it's the Prez. Rob Veno with us, Joe Raneri on board. Both can be found at sportsmemo.com. And although the image says it's Morning Joe and the Pro, that'll be fixed for next Monday's show. This is the first ever Pro vs. Joe's primetime show, and let me explain how it works. We take the 5 TV games. I mean, there's lots of TV games, but these are the 5 high-profile television games for this upcoming week in college football and the NFL. We have the Friday night Penn State Maryland game. We have the Saturday Washington USC game. We have the Saturday night Auburn game. Sunday night Dallas Cowboys versus New Orleans Saints game, and of course the Monday night Pittsburgh Cincinnati game. We put up the lines for these games. We give out a consensus play on each one of these 5 games, and then we leave it to you. If you look in the comments section on our YouTube website, you'll find a link to a Google submission form. Just put in your thoughts on these 5 games. If you beat us, you get... Well, if you enter the contest, you get $10 in WagerBuxx. If you beat us, you get $50 in WagerBuxx. If you tie us, you get $25 in WagerBuxx. And if you go a perfecto, 5-0, you get $100 in WagerBuxx and Joe Raneri doing a special custom voice message for your phone. And Joe has some options. Joe, do the love option.
We can always say, yeah, hi, we're not available to take your call right now, but please leave us a message and we'll get back to you.
Then Joe also has the deep voice football option available.
Yep. We're not here right now. You didn't win, and you're going to have to come back and try again, but thanks so much.
And so on and so forth. So make sure, guys, just entering, you get $10 of WagerBuxx, and look, it should be fun. We're going to talk about the winners every show. We tape the show every single Monday, and it starts on Friday. So you have until Friday to enter your picks against us. Guys, Rob Veno, how are you, buddy?
I am good today, Prez. How are you?
Trying to figure out what the pictures are behind you.
Those pictures are of the marquee at the Stardust Hotel when I was involved a couple of times in their invitational contest football handicapping. Once against a good friend of the gambling community, Dave Malinsky, and one time against a handicapper from Oklahoma, Trace Fields.
Yeah, well, listen, we could talk about the late Dave Malinsky till we could do a whole show on that guy, and it's sad he's not around. Joe, what's up with your hair today, dude? You usually look better.
Oh, that's thanks, I think. I'm not sure how to take that. But yeah, no, thanks. Well, it's clean. Does that count for anything? No?
Yeah, okay. I like how you've matched your eyes with the background.
Yes. Took me a long time to figure that one out, but I finally got the eye color right, so I'm good to go. Excellent.
Well, then let's start. Penn State. -6.5 against Maryland. And Penn State's rolling, boys. They've won 3 in a row. They just beat Pittsburgh 17-10. They absolutely walloped Buffalo. And the Idaho score was a joke. Maryland, on the other hand, just lost to Temple 20-17. Rob, I'll go to you first. What should the 3 of us decide on in this game?
Well, a couple of things to look at here, Prez. Penn State's undefeated record might be a little bit misleading. Though they won those last 2 games, they were outgained yardage-wise by Pitt. So 2 consecutive games in a row where they lost the total yardage battle but won the game. Pitt game was rain, and of course it was a questionable decision. Coaching decision by Pittsburgh at the end of that one. Both of these teams had a week off. If you go back to the game against Temple, 3 times they got stoned inside the 10-yard line of Temple, came away with no points. A little bit of macho play calling by Mike Loxley, perhaps. But Josh Jackson and company had instructable offensively prior to that against Syracuse, bombs away. all over the place. So off of a bye week, Maryland, it's a Friday night game. It's going to be a hostile environment. I think the question in any of these, when you have a home underdog on an isolated game, is enough to carry that emotion for 60 minutes. A lot of times it's not. Maryland may have it. I happen to think that plus 6.5 might be a little much here. I think we're going to get a close game out of it.
Mr. Raneri, are you with Rob on Maryland plus the 6.5?
I am actually leaning the other way because when you look at this, guys, the Nittany Lions, they've won their last 3 games against Maryland by an average of almost 41 points here. They have dominated this series. They have dominated, I believe, the Big Ten here. They are 22-5 straight up in their last 27 games against Big Ten opponents. While it's a work in progress, that offense for Penn State, and that's exactly what it is. They're not what they used to be from an offensive perspective, but from a defensive perspective, they are. And by the way, that they held on against Pittsburgh just a couple of weeks ago. That looks pretty good now since Pitt just upended UCF, who rattled off 20-some-odd wins in a row. So I do think that Penn State is the play here. I do believe that some people are just going to look at this and go, Maryland coming off, it's a Friday night game, and I get all that, but I do think when you're lining up mano-a-mano, Penn State has the athletes. Penn State has the edge in this game.
Yeah, so, Rob, we're never going to come up with a full consensus because the two of you are opposite each other, and that's going to happen a lot. So basically, 2 and 1 creates a consensus, and I am going to go with handsome Joe Raneri. So the first play in our competition is Penn State minus 6.5. Joe, I'll go to you first. Washington is minus 10.5 against Penn State. I actually bet Washington this Saturday. They handily beat BYU. They handily beat Hawaii, but they did lose to Cal by 1 point. USC just beat Utah 30-23, and putting up 30 points against Utah is pretty impressive. They lost to BYU and they beat Stanford and Fresno. I feel like 10.5 might be a bit high. What do you like in this?
I don't know what to say about play out in USC. That game against was just great play by USC, who again lost their backup quarterback. Go to the third guy on the chart there, who came in and threw a lot of balls up for grab. And if it wasn't for the fact that the Utah secondary was just abysmal, and they're about 5 feet 9 inches tall compared to the 6'2" wide receivers of USC, a lot of jump balls there. And they have a common opponent here, guys, recently, that being BYU. One team smoked BYU. The other team lost to BYU. To me, I don't even think this is going to be close. I think while USC, it was a great effort against Utah. I think Utah was a little overrated to begin with. Give me Washington at home. Lay the points. I don't think this one's even close, guys.
Okay. Like Joe in bed with Kate Upton, we're going to lay the points. Rob, do you agree?
I do. I think that the biggest improvement in Washington this year, guys, is the quarterback play. Jacob Eason, Georgia threat downfield, throwing the football. They're more balanced on the offensive side. The question mark coming in, let's face it, they had lost 9 defensive starters, but that defense came against Brigham Young last week. It came up huge the week before. Last week scored 21 points directly or indirectly from their defense, a punt return and special teams, a punt return for touchdown, fumble return for touchdown, and another fumble recovery that set up a touchdown. You're going to take Matt Fink on the road, a kid who put his name into the transfer portal because he was going to be the third-team quarterback at USC, comes out, plays a great game last week. But, boy, you go to Seattle, I don't know if that can be sustained here. 10.5 sounds a lot because USC has talented wide receivers. But generally, it looks like that's all they've got is talented wide receivers. Don't like the offensive line, defensive line. I think Washington can win the trench war. Chris Peterson's teams, by nature, get better as the season goes on. And if the defense is this good already, I want to see the defensive back matchup against these USC wide receivers, because in recent years now, Washington's becoming defensive back university. A lot of their guys wandering around in the pros as starters right now.
So to summarize, like a thong on Nicki Minaj, USC won't cover. Was that a good one, Joe?
That was fantastic, actually. Well done. Very
Dude,
well done.
you got such a great voice, man. Like, me and Rob should just like mime, and you should just do all three of our parts.
No, that was good. I can't believe you pulled out Nikki. That's fantastic. Very nice.
Okay, brother. So our first game is Penn State. Our second game is Washington. The lines you can find right next to the handsome Rob Veno, wearing a blue shirt. Rob, has your hair ever been out of place?
I try, since I was 5 years old, I would go to a barber and get what they call a Princeton haircut. My father would force me to get, and the hairline has stayed the same now through the age of 7, so not bad.
Okay, Penn State and Washington. Guys, just a quick reminder, make sure to check in the comments section on the YouTube show for the link to compete against us. You get $10 just to enter, $25 if you tie us, $50 if you beat us, and $100 of WagerBuxx if you go 5-0, plus, of course, a customized voice message for your phone from Dr. Love, yes. Joe Raneri. Auburn, look, this team is impressive. Since the first half of that Oregon game, this team has just come out firing. They went into A&M this past weekend. They were dogs. They won 28-20. They beat Kent by 100, Tulane by 18, Oregon with an incredible comeback win. And Mississippi State's no slouch. 3-1 record. I bet them this week. It was Marco's 5% play over at WagerTalk.com. They won 28-3, but they did lose to Kansas State. We got the line at Auburn minus 11.5. Mr. Veno from sportsmemo.com. What do you like?
Yeah, this is a tough one, Prez, because you wonder how much the A&M game might have taken out of Auburn. That was a highly anticipated contest, a lot of emotion there, full focus on both sides. And it took every bit of what Auburn had to hold A&M off in that fourth quarter. A&M gained about 70% of their yards, maybe more, in that fourth quarter as Kellen Mond tried to rally that team. Auburn, held on for the victory there. The defensive front is no joke. People will argue that it's the best defensive line in the nation. I don't know that I can disagree. It could pose problems for Mississippi State. However, Garrett Schrader, the quarterback who got the nod because Tommy Stevens is injured for Mississippi State, drew some really rave reviews from Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops, who said he was a grown man out there. This guy's a freshman. He was a grown man out there, and you can tell great talent when you see it. Not only did he throw the football for 180, but he brings into the game for Mississippi State what they used to have, which is a running threat. Tommy Stevens, not necessarily the running threat that Schrader is. So Auburn will have to prepare for both. I don't know that it'll be that difficult, though, Prez. If they're ready to play, Auburn can win this game by 2. A lot of money on Kentucky last week. Kudos to Marco for having Mississippi State as the 5%er, and kudos to you for playing that way. But there was a lot of Kentucky money. Folks thought that was the right side. Now, all of a sudden, to jump on Mississippi State off of one win, I don't know that I can do that, especially since they have to travel to the Plains. I think Auburn's defense is the better of the two defenses, and Bo Nix getting better by the week. Not asked to do a lot, but getting better by the week. Certainly his head coach loves him. Joey Gatewood in there is a little bit of a change-up at quarterback. I think Auburn's probably the right side. I'd hate to get so chalk-heavy here with our first 3 picks, but I like Auburn.
Yeah, Joe, Auburn, toughest schedule in all of football. A big game still on tap. These are the games they have to win. Are they going to cover the 11.5?
Well, Schrader is a true freshman too, so I give the kid credit and what Moorhead and company are doing at Mississippi State. But Gus Malzahn at home and Bo Nix, and they went in there, and a lot of people were fading them going up against Texas A&M, an opportunity for A&M to kind of make a stand there with Jimbo and company, and it didn't happen. I mean, they dominated a lot of that game. Defensive front, like you said, that front seven is it's legal. It could be the best in the SEC, and that is saying a lot. I do think this game is going to be a lot of, like Rob said, if Auburn wants to, if they come to play this game, it's going to be a long afternoon for Mississippi State. So I have no problem laying the points. Nothing that I've seen from Mississippi State tells me on the road that they're going to have any success playing this team. I think Gus Malzahn has the troops ready to rock and
So
roll.
to summarize, like the Prez in bed with Blake Lively, we're going to lay. I'm going to run out of these, Joe.
So far, so good, man. Damn.
Dallas on the road, Sunday night game against New Orleans. I will be at Rosh Hashanah dinner. I will not be able to watch this game. I will be with my family celebrating the Jewish New Year. Look, the line is -3, but we aren't going to allow ties in this game, so you can get -3.5 or +3.5 if you want New Orleans. Joe, I'll go to you first. Where are you headed, my brother?
Yeah, I love me some home dogs in this situation. I think this weekend with Teddy Bridgewater on the road was a full team effort, very well coached, and they're not asking him to do a whole heck of a lot. He didn't have to do a lot. Special teams delivered. That defense is no joke of New Orleans. They'll be at home, which we all know. I don't care who the quarterback is. Tough place to play. Dallas, to this particular point, outside of Miami, wasn't really tested at all.
Outside of Miami?
Yeah, outside of Miami for at least the first 2 quarters yesterday when they got smacked in the face. To me, Teddy Bridgewater, you're giving him $14 million for a reason. He is the future of this organization once Breeze decides to step down. I think the ceiling is much higher. Taysom Hill is still a wild card. Alvin Kamara in the flat is a beast. But this defense it'll be the best defense that Dallas has seen on the road. Yeah, who dat, baby? Give me New Orleans all day long as a home dog in this.
Rob, I'm going to let you break the tie because here's my take on this. I was on the under in the New Orleans-Seattle game yesterday, and although it went over by 2 touchdowns, it was a real phony score in every direction. I'd like to summarize the 4 touchdowns that New Orleans scored. The first one was on a kick return. Why was there a kick return? Because I was on the under. The second one was a fumble by Chris Carson that New Orleans picked up and ran back all the way for a touchdown. Why did that happen at the wrong side of the field? Why did it end up a touchdown? Well, because I was on the under. The third one was a missed field goal with an illegal formation by the defense, allowing New Orleans to get the ball back on first down, and 4 plays later it was a touchdown. Why did 0 become 7 points? Well, because I was on the under. And the fourth touchdown New Orleans scored was because Seattle went for it on 4th and 1 from their 30-yard line and missed it. Why did they miss it? Well, because I was on the under. So I don't think New Orleans was actually able to execute pretty much anything with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. I like Dallas in this spot, minus the 3.5. Rob Veno, please break the tie.
Yeah, and you have to make a firm decision here, Prez, whether you believe that strength of schedule, because it's very real. The strength of opposing schedule, like Joe brought up, the power ratings I keep show that by game, on average, New Orleans is playing opponents that are almost 11 points better than what Dallas has played so far. If you're going to base it on a team being untested and a team being run through the rigor, you're on New Orleans. If you want to go to the fundamental side of this game, you're probably on the Dallas Cowboys. Just to go over New Orleans' 3 games, and you brought up their contest yesterday against Seattle. One thing you didn't mention, they're outgained 515 to 250-yard edge for the Seahawks. Prior to that, they're outgained by the Rams, 380 to 244. Doesn't sound like a New Orleans Saints offense when you've gained 265 and 244 the last 2 weeks. If we go back to opening week, the Monday Nighter against Houston. They need a 58-yard field goal as time expires because the defense let them down. Deshaun Watson went 2 plays, 75 yards to take the lead. So New Orleans, to me, fundamentally hasn't been that impressive presence. Certainly Dallas is beating up on cupcakes, but the numbers are there. I mean, their offense has produced 476, 474, and 494. Total yardage-wise, very balanced. I think New Orleans is going to face the best offense they've seen all season long, and perhaps the best defense they've seen all season long. We don't know it for a fact yet, but Dallas's defense could stack up with the 3 that the Saints have played so far. Dallas went down there and won before. They won't be intimidated. New Orleans may be seeking a little bit of revenge, but I tend to go with the fundamental side of things, the guys that are on the field. So I'm with you. I'll go with Dallas in this game.
So to summarize, Joe, like sticky notes on Dolly Parton, New Orleans will not cover. Joe, I'm out. I got to figure something out for the Pittsburgh. I don't know how many more of these
I can handle. Okay, very good. Very good.
Joe, you got anything for the Pittsburgh summary? I don't know if I got anything.
You're gonna have to vamp here and give you enough time to come up with something here. Oh my word. Pittsburgh is a dumpster fire. I'll start with that. Absolutely horrific that you as a NFL team would experience the gift of 5 turnovers in a game and only be able to turn them into 6 points. And while I think the defense is getting better with Pittsburgh, what good does it do if you can't take advantage of 5 turnovers like the 49ers gifted you yesterday? They can't run the ball. James Conner's looking more and more like a one-and-done situation here. They're starting 0-3, but they haven't played anybody in their division yet except for this game against Cincinnati will be the first. They still got to play Cleveland. They still got to play the Ravens. So having said that, I think Mason Rudolph, former Oklahoma State quarterback there, I do think he showed signs that, the moment is not too big for him. But I can tell you this, if Pittsburgh can't run the ball, they're not beating anybody. Because if he's got to step back there and throw 40 times a game, they're not beating anybody. Cincinnati, they got so outgained in that Buffalo game there that it was embarrassing. You almost didn't want to watch the second half, except Buffalo went brain dead in the second half and allowed Cincinnati to come back. I love what Sean Taylor's doing there. Andy Dalton has always been underrated. Pittsburgh should win this game. However, I can tell you this, Cincinnati's not going to lay down for anybody. And if they're not careful, Cincinnati will come back and they will bite them. They're not quitting Cincinnati. So while I like Pittsburgh, I'm scared of Cincinnati from the standpoint that I don't know how much I love or trust Pittsburgh to get the job done just yet. I think they're reeling, but I think they're also desperate. So I'll go ahead and ride Pittsburgh one last time before their season. You can stick a nail in the coffin because it's almost over if they don't win this game.
Ooh, maybe I can use the ride as my summary.
Like that.
Rob Veno.
I might let you break this tie, Prez. I'll take 4.5, not because I think Cincinnati's a superior team, but just because it's 4.5, and I've got 2 teams that I don't want a part of either one of them. If you look at that San Francisco-Pittsburgh game yesterday, remember Frisco wins by 4 points, but they turned the ball over 3 times inside the Pittsburgh 10-yard line. As somebody who had to play on over 44.5, to watch the game hit 44 with 3 drives going into the end zone that end up in turnovers, it'd drive you crazy. Pittsburgh could have lost that game 45-20, to summarize what I'm trying to say here. The Bengals at least showed a little bit of heart coming back against Buffalo. That's a very good defense. That's on the road. It's a better defense than what Pittsburgh possesses right now. I think that since he can hang in and at least make this a field goal game one way or the other, can't lay points with Mason Rudolph and that Pittsburgh team right now. They just didn't show me anything yesterday that would lead you to believe they should be a 4-point favorite anywhere against anybody. So I'll take the dog and just under the assumption that since he can hang within 3 points of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I'll break the tie, boys. And really, I'm with you, Joe, on the concept of, and you can hear it in your voice and your analysis, you're not going to be betting this game. Same with you, Rob, and I'm unlikely going to be betting this game either. But I'm going to take Cincinnati, and the bottom line is they went into Seattle. They almost came out with a win. They played probably the best defense in all of football in Buffalo this past Sunday on the road, and they really made a beautiful comeback and almost won the game. The game against San Fran from Cincinnati got away from them very early because of turnovers. I think Cincinnati, unlike Miami or maybe even the New York Jets, is a proud team. I think their coach is a proud guy who wants to win. I think he'll have them ready, and I think this is going to be a field goal game. So like the hair on Joe's head, Pittsburgh will not cover.
Oh, love that. Very nice. That was also excellent. Very nice.
Rob, do you want to know the impetus of why this show came about?
Do I want to? No, yeah,
No,
I do want
you
to
don't.
know.
Nope, you don't. Nope,
Sure
you
we
don't.
do.
Nope.
Okay, I don't.
Okay, well,
Joe's
okay.
giving me the warning, the X sign. Rob, stop.
The long and the short of it is I need to do, I mean, you come on Morning Joe. I do shows with you from time to time, Rob. I needed to do a show with handsome Joe Raneri. We needed to look into his eyes, check out his sun-kissed face.
Yes.
Just bask in his scruff.
Yes.
Joe, do you have, when you're doing these videos, do you have like a sun lamp facing at you so you're constantly sun tanning?
Always. Never leave home without it. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, all of the lights in here are basically UV bulbs here. So I am getting the sun while I'm sitting here talking to you. It doesn't get any better than that.
Do you G-string it when you suntan?
I am wearing my WagerTalk thong as we speak, my friend. Yes. Yep, I got it on.
Rob, I do apologize because every Monday's show will be about Joe and I making fun of each other, and you could just basically sit back and watch.
Yes.
But if it means anything, you have outstanding hair.
Don't let him get in your hair, Rob. Don't let him do it,
That'll
man.
make one of the summaries next week, I think.
Yep.
Maybe my hair will get there, Joe. Yours did.
Okay,
You
boys.
gotta go ahead and put some more pictures in the back too, right? Just keep adding a picture every time we do a show.
Penn State, Washington. Am I getting this right? Penn State.
I hope so.
Washington, Auburn, Dallas, and Cincinnati. Those are our 5 picks. Guys, check the comment section of our YouTube video. You'll find the link for the contest form. Remember, just entering the contest gets you $10 in WagerBuxx, $25 if you tie us, $50 if you beat us, and $100 plus a sexy voice message from Joe Raneri if you go 5-0. Any last message, thoughts, whatevers? Oh, Joe, I need you to write some more jokes for me.
No, you're doing a fantastic job on your own, Prez. That was really you got to mix in a couple of new stars there, but honestly, you've covered the gamut here. Very impressed.
And I do have a thing for Blake Lively.
Yes, I know the direction you're heading. Yes.
The direction is that's a
sure
nice
Cardi B
pun
can-
there.
I'm
Pun
not
from
sure where
Joe
Cardi-
Raneri. Rob Veno,
you
any
mixed in Cardi, but we're good.
last words?
Yeah, just as a steadying force here, guys. For the folks listening, we hope to make this as much fun as we made it today for you every single week, and we would love to have your participation. Come and take a swing at us. We're giving you our best on Monday for Friday through Monday games of next week, so it's early in the week. Hopefully, we get a lot of response here, and we'll keep it going each and every Monday.
Like Justin Bieber's career.
Oh Christ!
The show is over. Was that good?
Yes, that was great. That was good. Can we get me out of here now?
Well, we have a minute and 10 to hit the 30-minute mark. Should we just stare at it? And why don't Rob and I just stare at you, Joe?
I honestly, I can't. All right, let me ask you this, guys. Who wins the World Series? Go.
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Houston. I can't. Yankees.
I think it's going to be Houston against the Dodgers, and I think it's going to be a good World Series, right to the end. Game 7.
Give me Dodgers, Yankees any day, and the whole world will be interested.
Yeah, and I'm a Dodger fan, guys. I mean, I've been a Dodger fan my whole life, so I would love to see Dodgers, Yankees. Obviously, from the tri-state area, Connecticut. A lot of my good buddies are Yankee fans, so we can have at it a little bit.
Let's do it, damn it.
Like a Pink Floyd album,
Oh,
that
Christ.
World Series
Oh,
would be a 10 out of 10.
oh God.
Later, boys.
Be good, man.
Great
Take care,
show.
guys. Take care, Joe.
I don't get. I'm